I saw someone comment, I want to see more videos about you talking about your childhood because I posted a 10-minute video over there talking about it. So I'm going to go in depth. And hopefully you guys find it entertaining. But if nothing else, I just want to get this stuff off my chest. So without further ado, here we go. Okay. Born in Springfield, Ohio, to Doug and Kathy Robbins. Um, Both obviously Irish. And it's Robbins, Robbins. You would be amazed at the stupid people that call me Robinson, Roberts, Robertson. No dumbass, Robbins. Like the bird, but with a second B just for fun. It's amazing how stupid people are. Again, as a child, looked up to, but also feared, and in many ways greatly disliked my dad. Um, because he was a narcissist. Um, I'm trying to think where all to start. Well, my brother was born in '93. I was born in '87, so we're born 6 years apart. Um, my nana, who was my mom's mom, uh, was a nurse and literally retired around in her 50s to be basically a babysitter for my brother and I when we were younger. And, the last 7 years of her life, she lived with us. Um, but, like, it was one, she was always over at our house. And she would leave later that night. But I can remember an old house we lived at when it was just my mom, dad, and brother. And I had to be 3 or 4. I remember sneaking down in the kitchen to get a Star Crunch, but I was scared of the dark, terrified because I've just always believed in ghosts, and I was afraid I'd see something. And so I, but I'm frozen with fear, and then I see but I want that Star Crunch. It's right there, but for some reason I can't quite reach it, but I'm too scared to move. And luckily, the upstairs bedroom light or hall light turns on, and I hear my mom's voice, DJ, go to bed. Because, I mean, that was my nickname growing up from my parents, cousins. That whole family world I was DJ instead of Doug. Because my real name was Doug because I'm named after my dad, la di da. But, and I was relieved because the light was on and I knew someone else was awake, so I remember heading upstairs and that was the end of it. Same house, I remember my cousins would come over. My dad would go or would be downstairs partying with my Uncle Dale, and remember back then having my Hasbro rings on the stairs there as a well, I didn't start watching until I was 10, but my dad watched it in the 80s. Um, and if I had to give you a timeline, I would guess probably 87 to 1990 was about as long as his fandom was. Uh, and I remember hitting my head, wrestling with my cousins, older cousins, Jordy, and I can't remember what the other one. hit my head on the back of a nail, and I didn't go to the hospital or nothing, but apparently it killed that part of the hair follicle, like the hair follicle there. That's why I have a part. Um, and my mom would always have to tell the barber, hey, there's a part, the hair follicle's dead at that part. So there's that. And then I remember going to see True Lies in 1994, and I had to be like not quite 7. I'd turned 7 that November. Uh, it was a little. I liked Schwarzenegger. I was a big Batman fan at around 2 and 3. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Uh, always prefer Batman Returns over the first one. First one's okay, but Returns was my jam. Loved the TMNT. Hated the third one. Loved the first two. Uh, Next year, my brother and me, who would it was 95, so that'd be about. Uh, so he'd be not even 2, but 95 we went to see the Power Ranger movie, and I remember Ivan Ooze in the movie saying, "I smell something." And that was right after my dad farted, and the whole family in the van is losing it because we're at the drive-in. And then he's like, "Smells like teenagers," and my dad just laughing. Uh, Great memories at the drive-in, really. Um, Usually going with family, either my mom or dad. Wonderful memories. Um, Again, very close to my brother. Still am. Love him to death. Um, Him and I were both born during Cleveland Browns games. Uh, the Chargers, and we lost to them. When my dad's mom died in 1984, guess what? During a Browns game, lost to the Chargers. And it was like the same score. It was like 28-14. So he's like, the two best days of my life and the worst day of my life all share that little thing in common. He's an interesting enough guy. I think he's way more interesting than I am. Because I've always just, I'm a writer. What the hell do I do? I'm just an observer. I don't know. I always looked at myself, as the fat schlub that was just nobody cares about me. You know, I'm not lovable. I don't want to focus on me. Listen to my words when I'm writing. But I remember a TikTok person wanted to say, hey, here is you know, talk more about your childhood. So I said, okay, here it is. Loved the first 3 Child's Plays growing up. When I was 10, I went to see H2O. Fell in love with Halloween, the Michael Myers series. Great shit. Um, then, I can remember going to see Space Jam with my brother. Oh, was it Men in Black? There was one movie. My brother and I were goofing off. He was maybe 3, I think. He he scratched. He had butter in his eye because he'd been eating popcorn. He scratched my eye, and I couldn't open it for a few. There was no damage. It was just, and it was real red and watery. I couldn't open it for a couple days because he accidentally poked me in the eye, scratched me in the eye. He didn't mean to. My eye's okay, but I had literally forgotten about that till right now. But yeah. Anyway, I was. I remember one time taping a Goosebumps and being pissed off I had to go to football practice because I played football, baseball, basketball. Played basketball third through sixth. I played baseball like kindergarten through eighth grade, and then just all football for all through high school, and then freshman year of college at Wittenberg University. Um, Grew up a huge Browns fan. Grew up a huge Buckeyes fan. I remember one little girl in fifth grade asking me to go on a date or to be my girlfriend. I was a shy dumbass. I'm still a shy dumbass. I didn't want to bring any little girl around my parents, especially my dad. I looked at my dad and my cousin Jordy as sexual deviants that didn't respect women, were just, there for the good time. And I want to, you love women, you appreciate women, but it's like, don't act like, oh, I'm one big hormone. Like, dude, you're in your 40s. Stop it. And it's like, Jordy, you're 16. You don't have to act like the whole world is sex. Seventh grade, seventh and eighth grade, was me and a kid named Michael, and we were the only two football players in the spelling bee that year. Um, I got eliminated when I went for trying to qualify for it in sixth because the way the dumbass teacher said locust, she didn't say it like with a T. She made, I swear to God, the way she said it made it sound more like locust, like it had a D at the end. So that fucked me up. So I think I said D because it sounded like she was like, "Well, you stupid bitch, you should have read it like locust." You dumbass. I'd never seen the word spelled. But anyway, there's that shit. I remember being in a skit in high school about a sophomore. I think the girl was like a junior. I had a crush on her. So we did a little skit with Officer Bob. It was Dare. Um, and the dude, like, I remember pretending to punch the guy. It's like, how would you solve the conflict? So I remember fake punching. I love to make people laugh as a kid because I played football, and when I wanted to hit hard when I got in high school as a defender, as a D lineman. Um, you know, Slasher movies, horror movies, and writing horror has always been my escape. Um, and this is all I want to talk about. Thank you for listening. Have yourselves a lovely day.